let's see, he went 9-2-3, and that was against HQ Esports Club, mind you. So that's not an easy feat to achieve, especially when you're running an unconventional bot lane here.
Sure isn't. It's going to be interesting to see how Taipei snipers respond to this as well, just because they're going up against that unconventional lineup. For the Taipei snipers, they're looking at the team composition. They don't have a traditional AP carry. We were talking a little bit earlier though how AP supports are becoming more popular. Annie was already so popular in Season 3. Now the 2014 season has rolled around, and Annie has that gold generation that she can get from the bottom lane. The ability power scaling on Annie has not been affected at all in the current patches, so she will still do a ton of burst damage with those new items if she does go for the ability power pickup.
Yeah, let's kind of see what Annie we're talking about has decided to go for. So he has the 8 armor penetration and just a bunch of ability power stacking onto Annie itself. It does seem that Azubu Taipei snipers might be deciding to go for an early level invade here, and let's just see if the Azubu Taipei assassins will spot this one out.
Oh wait, no, there's just the hard way.
Azubu Taipei assassins, 4 members waiting up in that top rush, as you said. GPL take a little bit of damage take. There goes the trinket placed down. That will spot the Azubu Taipei snipers if they do decide to leave that brush, which they will.
Yeah, they will decide to go in. They definitely saw the ward go down, so they must know that the assassins know about this. So what assassins decide to do is that what TPA has decided to do is just send Morning as well as Jay into the existing blue buff jungle, and then we have a pause coming along, maybe some technical difficulties here. So what do you think about this call, or at least this rotation coming in from Azubu Taipei assassins?
I like how the Azubu Taipei snipers moved there, how they moved into the blue buff despite knowing that it was warded. The trinket was placed down right before they left, but I like how they knew that if they did go into the blue buff, they would be able to shove out both the jungler and the top laner that would be trying to pick up that blue buff, and by doing so, Nunu has to move to a second buff late. However, the Taipei assassins have responded to this perfectly. Nunu knows that now I will not be able to get 2 buffs for sure, unless somehow they can secure blue buff and allow Dinter to get over there in time. So instead, Morning and Jay are just going to pick up blue buff and potentially donate it to Morning very early on, and Dinter's just going to go out and farm the rest of his jungle and just have a little bit less of an impact earlier in the game. But Morning will have a level 1 blue buff unless they wait for Dinter to come around, which I don't think they will.
I mean, it's still a possibility in my eyes at this point in time. Of course, that's not one of the most logical things to go for, but like you said, it's very smart for Azubu Taipei assassins to kind of respond in this way, because they saw 4 members rush into their own blue buff jungle, and they definitely know after seeing a real Riven in the mid lane that no one is in the bottom half of the map. So even if either Gragas or Leona gets down low while taking the blue buff, because they may not have the necessary runes to actually tank it up, they can always just blue pill back to safety and go back into lane with a blue buff, and that's going to help you in lane tremendously.
We will be going back into that game. The players have sorted out those technical difficulties that they had early on, but one thing I want to talk about is the lane swap as well. As BB's going to go down so low.
Wow, the level 1 bluing. This I definitely have seen this before, because this is so reminiscent of the SKT against KT Bullets game where Faker uses Riven at level 1 just to bully out reuse Gragas.
So we're going to see 2 lane swaps come around for both teams. TPA are going to put their AD carry and support, AP carry and support in the mid lane, whereas
just BB and J
in the mid lane, whereby Taipei snipers have put Mistaken God JJ up in the top lane. So normally Silver and Annie have so much burst potential early on, just because one stun into the boomerang break just does so much damage early on into the game. Swapping them into the top lane makes sense because they're unsure of what Leona and Lulu can dish out against them. However, this swap into the mid lane is very interesting. Azubu TPA might be going for a little bit of buff control and maybe early pushing, which Dinter has come out to try and help out with.
Yeah, look at the Blood Boil coming in from Dinter early, and he does have the red buff, and he just wants to kind of stick around here to maybe give them more pushing potential coming in. I don't know how well a Leona Lulu lane will start pushing into a mid lane turret, but it's going to be quite interesting, and I like the decision coming from the Azubu Taipei snipers at this point in time. They decide to send Mistake to pair up with O'Reilly to deal with this duo lane from the Azubu Taipei assassins, and it's quite funny because the Azubu Taipei snipers use or used to be known for their duo mid lane, in which they do the fast push, and the stun comes out from, wow, Jay taken down extremely low. The stun doesn't connect from O'Real though, and Jay has managed to flash out, and the tick of Ignite will just bring him down to slightly more than half HP.
2 flashes used, one on Wins and one on Jay there. So now Jay's a little bit more vulnerable in the mid lane. You can't be so aggressive. Bear in mind, this is the shortest lane, but with Annie sticking around in this mid lane, Riven and Annie will have so much kill potential if Jay decides to jump in with that Zenith Blade.
It's going to be very interesting to see how, well, look at this bot lane, or at least the solo bruiser lane. We do see Jay getting stunned up. The O'Real uses the broken wings, gets a few auto attacks, and gets a knockup. The stun comes in from Mistake. Jay's taken out extremely low. Will Wins decide to dive to turret. Both Jay and BB are extremely low. They have a huge minion wave pushing. It's going to be a cannon minion wave, and let's see if they decide to go in for the dive. Mistake will be charging up the stuns quite shortly. He has 2 stacks of that one. Needs another 3 more to get that stun off. And O'Real will just be using his Valor to kind of shield block some of the harass coming out from BB as well as Jay.
You can see Vi go down to the ball and probably get a gank off as Archie, who just flashes away. Takes a little bit of punches to the face from our Survivor, but no kill potential coming out from these two after a good flash coming in from Archie there. But the mid lane seemed rather interesting so far. Mistake trying to get the flash out to pick up a kill in the mid lane there, and Riven's just really not taking any damage at all.
It doesn't seem like that's the case, because O'Real did start with Doran Shield. That's going to help him in lane within itself. And in addition to that, we also note that he has gone for that Valor trade here. So every time he kind of knows that he's going to take damage from BB, he'll just pop the Valor, soak up some of the damage with the shield, and let's see if he does have some lifesteal coming in. He doesn't have any lifesteal, so I didn't expect him to run any at all, but he does have that 4% armor penetration, which is going to allow him to deal a little bit more damage.
BB's not going to have much health regeneration here. Aside from the relic shield that Leona has picked up, BB has no lifesteal in terms of her runes and masteries, and also started with that Doran's ring, so no life on hit coming in from that either. The only way that BB is going to heal is from natural regeneration, the relic shield charges, and also from killing a minion due to the mastery if she did pick that one up.
Yeah, it's going to be a very dangerous position, because what AZB TPS assassins want to kind of go for is that, or at least I think they want to, is that Dinta moving to the mid lane kind of shows that they want to kind of pressure the mid lane as much as possible. And at this point of time, it seems that, you know, AZB Taipei snipers aren't quite happy if O'Real in the mid lane kind of going up against a 1v2 situation. So they make the rotation, send Mistake and got JJ into the mid lane, and instead probably send O'Real back to base, whereas Wins will hold up the top lane before O'Real decides to take that lane over.
As you said, JJ will be rotating back down to this mid lane. If Lulu does head back into this mid lane, which we will see BB do so, it's going to be fairly interesting to see how this laning phase, well, what's left of the laning phase, will take place between these 4 champions, so to speak. But since neither team went for a conventional lane matchup, now I'm really curious to see how BB and J will impact the team fighting phase between these two teams. We have 2 solo lanes, both in the top and bottom lane, and now the mid lane has become the dual AD carry and support lane. So there's definitely going to be some early fights taking place around Dragon or buffs when they do respawn, which is about now. So gonna see which one of these teams do intend to roam to protect those buffs or go aggressive into the opposition jungle.
Yeah, it does seem that this rotation has kind of hurt AZB Taipei Assassins a bit, because at this point of time, what's happening now is that we do see, whoa, I missed that first blood coming in onto O'Real there, and Morning picks that one up easily. That solo kill in the top lane was something I completely did not expect.
So we saw in the Grudge early on that there was talks about a solo kill in the top lane, but that was not from Morning and O'Real there, but Morning using Kragas to pick up a kill against Riven. Morning, bear in mind, did have the experience advantage just because O'Real was in the mid lane with Annie, thus splitting the experience that they gained from destroying those creeps. As we do go into a replay of what happened up there, so Morning's gonna body slam in on full health Riven and just gonna decimate O'Real in an easy solo kill.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I was saying that it kind of hurt Azubu Taipei Assassins a bit, but here we have actually Azubu Taipei Assassins going for the dragon. It gets the dragon, Ditsa gets the smite off, but then the rest of Azubu Taipei snipers are there to kind of respond. Archie has his ultimate up. BB's kind of caught in the side. He does have his flash up though. Will BB be able to get away in time? It doesn't seem like that's the case because BB will go down to God JJ, and God JJ picks up a kill off of that one. So the Azubu Taipei Assassins do pick up dragon, however they lose their, well, quote-unquote AP carry in terms of BB in the dragon pit.
So that was kind of surprising there because AZB TPA definitely had that dragon under control. There was no way that the snipers could take that one off them. But BB, one of the more experienced players you could say on the AZB Taipei Assassins, one of the only member left from that Season 2 World Champions win, was caught really out of position there, but a good job by the snipers to lock him down long enough to prevent him from flashing over the wall and pick up a kill onto him.
Yeah, I like to kind of bring us back to what happened in the top lane here against Morning and Oriel. Morning hit level 7 first when Oriel was only at level 5, and the insane amount of burst damage coming out from Zargus' barrel roll into the explosive cast and ignite into the flash body slam that just kind of destroyed Oriel there.
Sure does, and Gragas packs so much burst with all his abilities and doesn't scale tremendously well, but fairly well with ability powers. Oh, real!
Taken extremely low, forced to flash away, and oh my goodness, Morning wasn't kidding when he says, oh no, the solar flare will miss, but Mistake gets started off, gets the polymorph, but the wild growth will come in, knock him out, and prevent him from escaping at all. God JJ is now pressured under the turret, and it does seem that this Lulu pick from BB seems to be working extremely well so far, getting 1 assist onto that one, despite kind of not being able to survive in that dragon attempt.
TPA were not afraid to use 3 ultimates early there as we see another fight take place.
Oh my goodness, Wiz has to go all the way in and is forced to flash away from that one. Jay is now the one that's going quite low, but Wiz is taking quite a bit of damage at this point of time, and Jay is able to walk away from that one. A little bit overzealous here, where Win's going in the flash into the assault and battery, and all BB needed to do was to flash to put Wins in an extremely uncomfortable position under the turret.
Archie's going to be able to get some tremendous amount of damage onto this bot lane tower, potentially even pick it up after this wave run. Unfortunately, may not be able to do so as Muda runs down, but TPA were not afraid to use 3 ultimates there just to pick up a kill onto Mistake playing Annie, and it was a good pickup there. Mistake was a little bit out of position, playing way too far forward than he should have against 3 champions in the mid lane. BB flashed really nicely away from that assault battery, and that's one of the unfortunate things about Twisted Advance or assault battery, whereby you target a player and then you move towards them, is that they always have the time to just dash out or flash out into tower range or into the rest of their team and put you in a dangerous position, which we saw Wins actually had to flash out and then charge away from that situation.
Oriel is still 2 levels under Morning at this point of time, and Morning is not giving Oriel an inch at all. He's not even allowing Oriel to stand within experience range. Oriel just hit level 8 at this point of time, and Morning with the double Doran's ring into the Fiendish Codex, he has just a huge amount of burst, and surprisingly, Oriel decides to kind of go for the damage items instead of some magic resist to kind of negate some of that burst coming out from Morning's Gragas.
Very interesting that he has decided to do so. Ribbons really do need early damage to do well, especially when they are played in the top lane, but Ribbons be played more competitively in the mid lane and then in the jungle, never in the top lane as of recent. But Gragas has been doing so well against him, and Gragas does well against champions, just does well against these heavy burst champions just because he has a ton of sustain himself. But to be able to burst down a Ribbon, and it was tremendously due to the fact that it was a huge experience match. We can fight going mid lane.
Yeah, that's right. The assault battery comes out. The solar flare will nod to God JJ. Ditto will use absolute zero. God JJ gets a spell shield off, and following that, we do have the teleport coming in from Zonda. Ditto gets hit by the briefcase, and the Vault Breaker will actually take him down. And it does seem that it's gonna trade 1 for 1. It's gonna be support for jungler there, and Azubu Taipei snipers might have the position on this mid lane turret. It doesn't seem like that's the case because Archie here actually trades, and Archie has been doing a tremendous job on this Shyvana, just solo farming in this bot lane here, and getting that slight CS advantage, and finally O'Reilly back here in the top lane, going for that harass against Morning. So Morning kind of eating his kind of own medicine there, whereas O'Reilly reaches the power spike in which he feels that he can kind of do Morning out. OJ is taken down extremely low. Does Mistake have the style? Doesn't seem like it. The glitter lance will do a lot of damage in addition to slowing him down. BB is taken down quite low here from the combination from a spell rotation from Mistake. And I like to point out that Mistake has decided to pick up 2 Doran's rings and no gold income items just yet for himself.
So one of the things the Azubu Taipei assassins mentioned that they wanted to do is really shut down and target O'Reilly, which it does look like Morning has done a good job of doing so. He's shut him down in a 1-on-1 situation. They even forced a 2-on-1 situation against that Riven very early on. So it does show that TPA really want to execute their strategy of shutting down O'Reilly in that mid lane. You do see O'Reilly got a little bit aggressive with Mistake behind him to try and get a kill off onto Morning, who just happily body slammed and flashed out of that situation.
So blue buff being taken here by Morning. The task of the blue buff is successful. A ward there will definitely spot out this blue buff transfer, and at the same time we do see the mid lane turret being taken down by God JJ.
So let's talk a little bit about what TPA wanted to do there against TPS to try and pick up this first game, but TPS on the other hand, they're completely opposite. They want to focus down BB and Morning, the 2 carry players of Super TPA. But what do you do when Morning's doing such a good job of shutting down your mid laner, and BB's playing such an unconventional champion like Lulu, who can keep himself or his teammates alive long enough to decide a fight? It's really hard for TPS to execute the strategy of shutting down these 2 carries when they're playing champions like Gragas and Lulu.
It's going to be very interesting how BB's champion, or at least BB playing Lulu in this kind of team comp, kind of synergizes with the rest of what TPA has in their arsenal. I mean, if Archie goes in with the Dragon's Descent, he can easily pop the Wild Growth and try to wow, O'Reilly actually taken out very low. The Ignite comes out onto Morning, and both O'Reilly actually wanting to go back to that one. One barrel will definitely take me out. Will Mistake be able to get a counter kill for that one? Morning does not have the flash, does have the body slam. He seems that he'll be able to get away from that one, and Mistake does not have the flash to follow up, but in the mid lane, and look at that. Wins being taken out extremely low. God JJ using the spell shield to kind of block the absolute zero from Dinter, and what a spell powered combination this Azubu Taipei Assassins team is running at this point of time.
That felt like a little bit of a lack of experience coming from O'Reilly there, as Dinter will get stunned down, and Andy Tippers kind of chase him away with that, but felt like a little bit of a lack of experience coming in from O'Reilly there. He really charged down Morning aggressively on such low amounts of health with Mistake running behind him. If he was to wait for Mistake to come in with the Timber Stun and then go aggressive onto Morning with that amount of health, he would have been able to either sustain himself with lifesteal or potentially...
Wow, the Flash Zenith Blade comes in, and right now the Dragon's Descent takes Mistake down extremely low. Archie picks out a kill on that one, now hitting the turret, got JJ in a little bit of trouble. Archie will be forced to back up from that one. The Volt Breaker comes in, Mundo gets a briefcase, hits. Archie forces the flash out of the Dragon Lady here, and Azubu Taipei Assassins will be happy with that 1 kill as well as that 1 turret. At this point of time, 16 minutes into the game, they have taken up 3 turrets in their favor, extended their gold lead to about 3,000 gold.
This is a completely different Azubu Taipei Assassins that we saw between the best of 5 between the Saigon Jokers, and now this best of 5 series against the Taipei Snipers. Against the Saigon Jokers, all they wanted to do is play very consistently and methodically and make the game incredibly slow. Pick up the objectives that they can and when they please to do so. Now they're making plays against the Azubu Taipei Snipers. They're winning one-on-one trades. They're roaming around the map aggressively. They've put Lulu and Leon in the mid lane doing aggressive flash Zenith Blade dives to try and pick up aggressive. This is incredibly different to the way they played throughout the entire GPL season. I think that's really caught the Taipei Snipers off guard.
Yeah, it's a very different Azubu Taipei Assassins coming in. It makes me wonder if they have done something in that little bit of a break coming in from the semifinals all the way to this grand finals in itself. Because if you take a look at what's happening here, the Azubu Taipei Assassins have decided to kind of run a double sweeping lens on their jungler as well as the support. And having the lead early with the double sweeping lens will allow you to go into the jungle relatively safely and clear out as much vision as you can from the snipers. And that's what Azubu Taipei Assassins want. They want to catch snipers in a bad rotation. They want to take lane control as well as jungle control and put as much map pressure onto the Azubu Taipei snipers and extend their goal lead as far as they can.
So looking at Lulu now, the unconventional marksman pick, you could say, for Azubu Taipei Assassins. Lulu's gone for the Athene's Unholy Grail and a Sheen. So BB's definitely going to be using his auto attacks and his passive to his advantage, along with the Sheen process. O'Real does not get knocked back by the explosive cast being thrown out by Morning there.
Yeah, Wins here getting caught out in the jungle. The knockup will actually go in. Assault and Battery will just stall BB for a bit, but God JJ has on the hunt. BB will be taken down from the Timber Stun here by mistake, and now Jay is in a bunch of trouble. Dr. Mundo is coming from the side. Archie goes in the Dragon's Descent now, and then a double kill for mistake. But Archie does take out JJ now. Archie is on the sidelines. Dinter will completely airball the Absolute Zero. The briefcase will miss, and Dinter will be able to get away from that one. Good try from Dinter, but it does seem that the Azubu Taipei snipers will trade that skirmish 3-2. So 3 kills gained for the Azubu Taipei snipers.
3-2 is not a bad trade for either team. Of course, TPS came out on top of that one. Dinter hopped his Absolute Zero in a very awkward location. TPS just pretty much stopped right in front of the edge of Absolute Zero. Let Shyvana move wherever she wanted, and once it completed its channeling, then decided to pick up the kill on Archie. However, there's not much Dinter could do there. Despite putting it down at poor Absolute Zero, there's no way he could get into a closer position to use that without getting taken down himself. And Mistake has always been criticized for his lack of mechanical ability, but that flash stun using Tibbers was really pinpoint onto Jay and BB there.
That's right, that was an exceptional team fight by both teams. A bit messy though, but we saw what targets that they wanted to go to, and they immediately bursted these targets down before then deciding to back off. So they kind of know their limitations as well as the potential on each of the champions in itself.
Mistake on Annie has gone for that double Doran's ring pickup with the mobility boots and the Sightstone. So he's going to have a little bit of ability power in this mid/early game. Well, transitioning into the mid and late game now, if he's able to pick up a few more kills and assists for himself, he could potentially pick up a huge ability power item and just give the team the ability power burst damage that they currently need, which they are quite lacking at the moment.
That's so scary. Zonda was nearly caught out of position there, and with Dragon coming up now actually, it does seem that both teams will prioritize their wards around the area. Look at the amount of wards that's actually coming in from both teams. The sweeping lens will be used to clear the ward in that Death Rush here, and this is the vision that kind of Azubu Taipei Assassins have on Azubu Taipei snipers, and this is what the snipers are actually looking at in terms of the vision here. So more wards being cleared out, but nevertheless both teams have rather good vision of each other at this point of time.
A little bit of dragon dance going on between the two teams. TPA had a bit more zone control there. That ward is O'Real now, has to battle out Archie in this bottom lane. See what he decides to do. He goes aggressive.
Whoa, gets good. Both the ultimates are popped, and then the knockout comes in onto O'Real. Will O'Real come on top? This one, he does have the TMS to go to all-time reset. BB is actually coming in a little bit overzealous from O'Real. Will O'Real be able to get away? It doesn't seem like that's the case. 2 ultimates being used there. It does seem that with this Taipei Assassins will be able to force Azubu Taipei snipers off of Dragon. The ultimate from Simmer is from the on the hunt, comes in Absolute Zero. There's no stun to come and block for that one. It does seem that Jay will be taken down. I mean, Jay will take down Wiz at this point of time. Only God, JJ, and Mistake will be the ones actually, as well as Zonda, trying to fend off the advances from the Azubu Taipei Assassins.
2-0 trade again for the Azubu TPA. Lulu was a crucial role in that fight and might actually get taken out here. Will not. Dragon is picked up by TPA.
Yeah, that's why God JJ gets initiated on once again. Dinson doesn't have much mana. He's the one that's getting quite low at first. And now God JJ will get busted out immediately by Morning. And now Zonda is in a world of trouble at this point of time. All members on the side of Azubu Taipei snipers Taipei Assassins are still alive, and they get an extended ace from that one, a slightly delayed ace because they took out all 5 members in between Dragon as well.
I really want to know what the Taipei snipers were thinking there, because they should not have gone back to fight for that Dragon. They were behind 1 member, 2 members even, just decided to go back and try and contest it when you really can't even contest a Dragon or a buff or even Baron from a Nunu. Why do you think you could do so in a 5-on-3 situation?
No, it's really questionable. Winds was not there, Oreo was not there, most of the Smite wasn't there, and most of the damage wasn't there coming out from Oreo. God, JJ hasn't really picked up the big ticket items just to be completely effective at this point of time. His boomerang blades are gonna hurt, but nevertheless, why did they decide to go back in for that one? That still kind of baffles me at this point of time. And there we hear the crowd kind of cheering out for Morning, stealing away the rip buff using his explosive cast. So that's a great play coming out from him, denying even more experience from the jungle of the Azubu Taipei sniper. So Oreo here doing his best as he can to kind of split push and put more turret pressure. But here, he may see him get caught out and get collapsed onto both BB as well as Archie. Archie does have his Dragon's Descent up. Will he go in for that one? The slow comes up from the glitter lens, and there we have the great knockup to prevent Archie from actually pushing Oreo back. But there we have the solar flare coming in into the absolute zero, forcing Oreo to flash away. Wiz is coming in, the Timber Stun go in, and it does seem that Azubu Taipei snipers will manage to fend off Azubu Taipei assassins at this point of time. But the question is that now, will Azubu Taipei assassins decide to go back into the turret and deal even more damage? Morning is on the side, and he's actually stealing away the blue buff from the jungle of the sniper. So that's once again another victory for Morning. He has the double buff, and both these double buffs have been taken away from the snipers.
Lulu has been an interesting pickup for TPA so far. BB has a ton of damage with the Athena's Unholy Grail, the Sorcerer's Boots, and the Lich Bane, but provides so much utility at the same time. The Wild Growth able to give that AoE knockup and save his members of his team and himself, which he's used so many times. And he has burst damage and also consistent damage from his passive as well. So it's been an interesting choice for TPA that has worked out so far. And with the outcry of Marksman being much harder to play in competitive play, and even in solo queue, people are saying that Marksmen are much harder to use in the current meta. Lulu's working out very well for them as an unconventional pick.
Yeah, and I like to point out something that you kind of mentioned in the pre-game mentor about unconventional AP supports, and you said that the change to AP support scaling, take a look at how much move speed Whimsy gives.
Oh wow.
50% extra move speed for 5 seconds. And this is the reason why BB has been able to show up and protect Archie, show up and try to get the knockup onto Oreo at that point of time, and he has that map mobility working in his favor.
That is just from 2 ability power items. As you see, Mistake gets caught.
Mistake gets engaged onto, and the Wild Growth comes in. Mistake is forced to flash away. Dinser goes to the absolute zero, will not do much damage. Archie is the one that's stacking up. He does not have his Dragon's Descent, and it's a great combo coming in. It's so scary. If Jay goes into the Zenith Blade, BB can easily go in with the Wild Growth. If Archie comes in with the Dragon's Descent, the Wild Growth can be popped and just a gigantic knockout with a gigantic dragon. Wiz might want to go in, but the Zenith Blade is the first one to come out. Jay is stacking up as much as possible, and now Archie is the one that's kind of in the front lines. Morning will be trying to hit as much as possible from the side, and Archie will be forced to back up from that one. The Glitter Lance will not hit anybody at this point of time, but barrels from the side, especially with a Gragas that's about to complete his Rabinum's death cap, is going to be quite scary. Once he hits that item Power Spike, the next dragon will be coming up in another 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's going to be very dangerous, a very dangerous point for Azubu Taipei snipers to kind of contest that one.
I want to touch a little bit on Lulu and how she's scaling now in terms of utility, because you're just saying how she only has 20% extra movement speed, and Lulu only has 200 ability power at the moment, so that could potentially spike up even further later on.
The slow is 80% and only decays to 30. So it's going to be a very unique kind of play, I would say, coming in from Azubu Taipei Assassins, because no one's gonna expect a Lulu, or at least no one expects a support Lulu to kind of slow you for that much. But this time BB isn't playing a support Lulu, he's playing it in a carry role, and that allows him to get the item, so it's gonna be very scary for that one. And I want to talk about the control that Azubu Taipei Assassins have been kind of asserting in both Dragon so far, and probably Baron very shortly when it comes to the 30-minute mark. You are not, no matter how many times Wins has stolen Baron from an opposing team, and we call him one of the king or the prince of thieves in the GPL in itself. But how are you going to steal away a major objective such as Baron with a Nunu and Gragas on the opposing team? The burst damage is just insane.
Not to mention as well, they have Jay and BB who can lock down people for an extended amount of time to allow Thinter to secure those objectives. As you said, Wins has been really strong in the jungle, one of the best pickups for the Taipei snipers in this split of the Greener Premier League. And as you said, has been able to steal multiple Dragons and a few Barons as well, and game-changing ones, not to mention. So it's going to be quite hard for him to pull that off against
You know what,
T-Con.
Fish? If he manages to steal Baron away from Azubu Taipei Assassins, I'm going to promote him to the king of thieves.
Should definitely be able to be. Anyone should be able to be, unless you're jungling against Saint Vicious or Hallelujah in that sense. Anyone should be able to. Anyone should not be able to be outsmited as.
Yeah, I'm sure Hallelujah has something to say to you when he comes back again on the desk, Fish.
So it's been a little bit stale so far. Taipei Assassins are up by about 6,000 gold at the moment. A fairly significant lead 30 minutes into the game. Their team, they've been doing more catching than they have team fights so far. So Jay has been doing a good job of locking down members when they're split up from their team. I really want to see how a 5-on-5 fight from start to finish
wow,
takes place.
The burst damage coming in, nearly one-shotting, 100-0 mistake there. And now it seems that it's going to be a 4v5 situation outside of this bottom out in the turret.
That's just one of the reasons why Gragas has been so strong from Season 1 to the 2014 season. He just packs so much utility and burst in his kit. And mobility as well with that crazy body slam.
Yeah, double buffs actually now kind of transferred onto both, or double blue buffs more likely. Both Morning and BB has actually blue buff in their own pockets, and it does seem that they want to continue this extended siege in one of the lanes at least. So it does seem that they're going to send Morning to the mid lane, and the rest of the Azubu Taipei Assassins might be rotating and trying to catch the snipers off guard at this point of time. They're actually camping around the side. If Oriel kind of makes an extended push for that one, he can easily collapse onto him. His sixth sense has kind of paid off here, so Oriel deciding to just farm out in the jungle. So let's kind of take a look at the item disparities coming in before a fight kind of happens. So Fish, what do you think about the items coming in, and will Azubu Taipei snipers be able to fight Azubu Taipei Assassins at this point of time?
I like the item pickups from both teams right now. Both the top lanes going fairly standard. Archie's fairly far ahead with almost an extra randomness being completed compared to Mundo, who only has that Sunfire Cape. Excuse me, only has that Sunfire Cape and the Spirit Visage build up so far. In the jungle though, I don't like Wins going for that Spirit Elder Lizard. Yes, it has been changed, it's a bit more viable now, but building damage, it does make sense against such a tanky lineup, but how are you going to survive the sustained damage coming out from Morning and BB?
Wow, the explosive cast comes in, and then the solar flare, the Zenith Blade will not hit, and now it does seem that Azubu Taipei snipers might want to turn it around to the Azubu Taipei Assassins. It does not seem that they do manage to get any sort of initiation, and you're gonna go back to this little fight, all this little dance here in the mid lane in the turret. So Archie actually attacking it up with the help of Pix, giving the shield, and it does seem that BB will be the one to try to chunk down this turret as much as possible. So static shift as well as the boomerang blades coming out from God JJ does help in the wave clear for the Azubu Taipei snipers. So let's see if they actually decide to do any kind of counter engage, and if Wins can actually pull off a very good vault breaker into a sound battery, that's going to help the Azubu Taipei snipers quite a bit.
So I was trying to say that I don't like the damage pickup coming in from Wins here, and it's just because there's no AD carry for TPA. As you might see, somebody get caught out here.
Yeah, there we have the ball breaker will not hit anyone. Wins. Where are you going with that? And now the assault battery goes on the tankiest member, Archie. I don't think you want to target Archie at this point in time. Wins his fault to put in one final ball breaker. Jay will be the first one to go down. O'Reilly is now into the fray. Dinter has completely no mana at all. The boomerang blade will actually clear it away, and a great explosive cast will actually try to knock most of the carries away from the Azubu Taipei Assassins. And now great fight from the snipers, great bait coming out, and that could have gone a lot worse for the Azubu Taipei Assassins, but thankfully the Azubu Taipei snipers made some bad plays there. We saw Wins actually kind of miss his vault breaker initially, and at the same time Morning with a fantastic explosive cast pushing most of them back. And then we have Archie actually getting hit by the stun coming in. The knockout goes in. O'Reilly dueling out with Archie, but Archie still has the Dragon's Descent. Will O'Reilly decide to go back in? Archie's still extremely tanky, and on the side Morning will be trying to come in and steal that barrier. The on the hunt is Pop. BB will be caught out. BB is the next one to go down. Zonda will slay him, and it does seem that Azubu Taipei snipers will have the positional advantage on the Baron at this point of time. But it's very worrying for them because the rest of the assassins are already back up. Morning is still at full health and full mana. He has the Zonias, and the ball breaker comes in, but the body slam will go in succession to chase that away. A great set play on the guard, JJ. The solar flare will lock up two people. Archie with the first one to go down, shut down to O'Reilly, and the Ditto will get stunned up, doesn't get a full channel, the absolute zero out, and now Ditto will be the next target to come in. Will the stun, the knockup does hit. Ditto will most likely go down. It's a great explosive cast, will save Ditto. Fantastic play by Morning so far.
My goodness, that was an incredibly extended team fight there. TPS won the entire team fight there in style. They didn't even lose a single member, all of them leaving with fairly low health in that situation. But I was talking a little bit how I wish Wins went for more tankier items, and that just showed why. Mundo barely got taken out at all in that fight. He was so tanky and so resistant to the damage that came out from TPA that they just had no way to deal with him other than Whimsy from BB that allowed one person to speed up and run away from Mundo. So effectively, without their AD carry, their sustained damage is significantly less than TPS, who do have Silver, who can constantly dish out sustained damage.
What's going to be very worrying for Azubu Taipei Assassins coming to the late game is that Shyvana deals quite a bit of magic damage, and here we have Azubu Taipei Assassins actually going in for the dragon. This should be their third or fourth dragon of the game, I believe. And as I talk about the kind of damage or damage output is being given by Azubu Taipei Assassins in a bit, it's that Shyvana does a lot of magic damage. Nunu is going to do a lot of magic damage. Gragas is going to do a lot of magic damage. Leona is going to do a lot of magic, and BB as well is going to do a lot of magic damage. So everyone is just stacking Spirit Visage, and probably the Banshees will later on to kind of negate a lot of that burst as well as sustained damage coming out from all these champions.
It's very tough to deal with a team that can stack one type of resistance. It's normally okay if your team is a full AD team comp, just because armor penetration scales much better. As Mistake might go for initiation, decides not to do so, but
Mistake doesn't have his flash up, so can't go in for the flash Tibbers initiation. Once that flash comes off of cooldown, I do expect Mistake to play even more aggressively, like as if he has that flash up. He's playing at this point of time as if he has that flash up right now. The Talisman of Ascension is already built upon onto Mistake at this point of time, so he can go in with the Talisman of Ascension on top of the Silver on the Hunt Ultimate with a massive, gigantic speed boost. This Azubu Taipei Snipers team is so extremely mobile at this point of time.
Taipei Assassins, they're still in the lead by 6,000 gold. They're not out at all in any sense. They're in fact ahead right now, but TPS, with the more conventional lineup and itemizing correctly against Taipei Assassins, have a huge chance of coming back into this game. They proved that with that Baron fight, which could have gone, as you said, even worse for the Taipei Snipers. They're really lucky. Sorry, that could have gone even worse for the Taipei Assassins. They're really lucky that the Taipei Snipers did not catch more people, actually did not catch anyone that walked to that rush.
Speaking about catching people, O'Reilly is getting caught out again. Doesn't seem that O'Reilly will be able to get out of that one. Yes, he actually manages to flash away from that, and he survives this locked down from both Morning as well as Jay. What fantastic reflexes from both players. My goodness.
That might be a Baron pickup though for the Taipei Assassins because they have Archie split pushing the bottom lane on Shyvana. The rest of TPA can run down to Baron. There will be no Riven to fight this one as BB tries to get a pick onto the members.
And never count out wins. The smite hands of God that wins has had a great initiation coming from JJ. A max Zenith play coming in, and it does seem that God JJ will turn it around with the on the hunt. It seems that TPS wants to go back in, and a very messy team fight. Who are they going to focus first? O'Reilly is in the back lines, or in the front lines at least, try to deal as much damage, and both teams will decide to back off from that fight.
Jay has been so on form with both the Solar First and the Zenith plays. He's been consistently hitting key targets and catching people out of position. He's been the one that's been making the plays for the Taipei Assassins. There's another one.
There we go. O'Reilly actually gets Whimsy. And then the Dragon Sensei comes in. Mistake is taken down. Mistake will go down first. Timbers didn't really do much there. Zonda now trying to zone as many members of the Azubu Taipei Assassins away from this turret. O'Reilly is taken out very low, and it's now only Zonda as well as God JJ that's there to defend this turret. Wins and O'Reilly need to back off and try to heal up as fast as possible. So Zonda here extremely tanky, has the Banshee's Veil, has the Spirit Visage as well as the Sun's Fire Cape to kind of get that additional health in and get your effective resistance or effective health to an even higher state at this point of the game. So very lucky there that, you know, what Azubu Taipei Assassins wanted to do was try to take a sneaky Baron with Archie actually kind of split pushing in the bot lane itself, but snipers were aware of it happening. And I like to talk about the awareness from both teams, or at least the vision control for both teams. Look at the amount of deep wards that Azubu Taipei Assassins have in the snipers jungle, and look at the amount of wards that the snipers have. There's not going to be a lot because with the Oracle's lens already being picked up by Dinter, and with two other sweep greater lens coming on the side of the Azubu Taipei Assassins, that's going to be a very easy ward sweep for them. They can easily clear up half of the top half of the map with the wards and just bait them into a very, very bad maneuver into Baron. And if TPS gets caught in a Baron bait, I think it's going to be game for Azubu Taipei Assassins.
Lulu should have about 400 ability power more now, if not even more, and
you're right, 481.
So that's going to be almost 50% movement speed increase on her. Whimsy might try and catch somebody out here. Morning decides not to as the ward gets placed down, but
78% movement speed increase, and this glitter lens itself from 80% to a minimum of 72. You might as well just keep it at 80.
So what TPA really need to do is what they did in that last fight. They need to catch out God JJ, Mistake, or Real, or Wins, who are the not so tanky champions on the team, not Mundo, anybody but Zonda right now.
I like what Zonda's
burst them down and then finish the fight that way.
Yeah, and speaking of Zonda, I really like what he's doing in this point of time because there are few wards alive for the side of the Azubu Taipei snipers, and if the Azubu Taipei snipers can kind of fight around the vicinity of these wards, the split push by Dr. Mundo being played by Zonda would definitely work out. They've already managed to take all the outer turrets finally from that one push from Zonda in the bot lane itself, and that's going to kind of prevent the bleeding coming in. So the gold difference at this point of time from both teams has shriveled to about 5,500 gold. So from 6,000, the Azubu Taipei snipers have been doing quite a decent job of stopping that bleed of gold coming in from themselves.
TPA poised to try and counter out or potentially take a Baron for themselves. This is what we've seen from them in every single game against the Saigon Jokers. They will wait for about the 40-minute mark where they're about between 6,000 to 10,000 gold ahead and try and take a sneaky Baron or force a fight here.
Yeah, the teleport comes in from Zonda, and now a great 3-man stun coming from Mistake. Mistake will definitely go down to this one, but they definitely delay the Baron. And now the Wild Growth, the Solar Flare will heal to Zonda. O'Reilly's in the team fight, and many people going low. First one to go down will be BB. Jay will probably be the third one to go down. A great fight coming up from the Azubu Taipei snipers. Now chasing on to RG, and the only one that's possibly alive is going to be Dinter. This is most likely a Baron for the Azubu Taipei snipers.
And this is why you don't take Baron unless you're 100% sure that you can win the fight that's going to take place after, or pick it up before the opportunity gets. If we go into a replay of that, very shortly. We will go into a replay of that. So we can see Archie's gonna jump over the wall here and separate himself from his team. The explosive cast will knock Wins away, but Mistake stuns 3 people with that splash timbers. Mistake will go down, but he's the support. He's stunned people. He's done his job. He can go down whenever he wants. Dinter is only gonna use Absolute Zero onto Zonda, and it's gonna do absolutely nothing to him. Now TPA don't have their ultimates, are caught in a weird position. Wins is finally caught up, gonna get so much damage down onto BB, who pretty much can't escape from this situation. Zonda is gonna decimate him. Dinter can't do anything in the back lines. Morty's gonna get taken down for a double kill. Archie tries to salvage kill into Wins, who just vault breaks out of there and lives to fight another day. And it's gonna be a 4-for-1 exchange in favor of TPS. And they will get the Baron afterwards. And it was a fantastic response from TPS, using the teleport to get into the Baron pit by Zonda. Mistake rolling around in great position, getting a great flash stun off.
Yeah, I would also like to point out that Azubu Taipei snipers within that time took the Baron. Okay, we have a pause here, so we got a little bit of time to talk about what happened as we kind of look through that replay. So what happened there was that Azubu Taipei snipers got the Baron, they got the Dragon, as well as kind of invaded into the Azubu Taipei assassins jungle and picked up as much as possible. So what they have now is a 400 gold lead for the first time in the game. And I also like to kind of talk about the synergy, or more like the synchronization of Azubu Taipei Assassins team, because in the Baron pit itself we saw the explosive cast come out from the inside of the Baron pit to the outside to try to disrupt as many members as possible, and this actually knocked away many members. It knocked away Wins, it knocked away, I think it was O'Reilly. And at the same time, Dinter went in with the Dragon's Descent, and because of the explosive cast, his Dragon's Descent wasn't able to pin down anyone, and he had to take the long way around in order to catch up to that team fight. And one of the crazy beast tanks, Mundo, definitely goes where he pleases. We saw him fall into that fight and basically not take any damage at all.
And we saw that Morning did, as you said, a good job of using the explosive cast to separate members of the Taipei snipers who were joining in. But Mundo was just way too tanky, and with that flash stun coming out from Annie, Mundo did a ton of damage in that pit, buying time for the rest of the snipers to rejoin the fight, which they did. And as you said, Mundo just went where he pleased, and going up against an all ability powered damage team composition, he's itemized really well and will not be susceptible to sustain damage, which Mundo is weak against. Mundo loves burst damage because there is no way you're going to ever be able to 100 to nothing Mundo, and because of that, with no sustained damage coming out from the Azubu Taipei Assassins, there is no way you're going to be able to burst down Mundo without 5 people hammering at him for a good 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, I think Azubu Taipei Assassins, or at least their team comp, has reached a point in which the snipers are starting to outscale them. If the assassins were able to kind of close out earlier with that massive 6,000 gold lead, I believe that this game would have been a completely different story. It should have ended maybe about 10 minutes ago with the Azubu Taipei Assassins as victors in game number 1. But now we're in the 43-minute mark. And look at the amount of items that God JJ has. He has a Last Whisper, a Static Shift, and a Bloodthirster, and probably the makings of maybe an Infinity Edge with that pickaxe first. I don't know what he's going to build. The current goal, he has 2.5 thousand gold in his pocket, so it's definitely going to be an Infinity Edge very shortly. And look at Zonda just happily tanking those few turret shots there. So it's going to reach a point in which Azubu Taipei Assassins, if they don't burst down all the carries, in particular O'Reilly as well as God JJ, they're definitely going to lose out in the team fights.
Zonda is regenerating more than 70 health a second. That is insane. He has 400 health every 5 seconds. If you can't deal 400 health to him every 5 seconds, he's going to
win. There we have that extended play coming in, but the spell shield come out, and a great mechanical play from God JJ. Look at Zonda. He single-handedly just zones all the members of the team. And then that burst damage coming out from Morning is not enough at all. The talented of Ascension will be pumped, and Zonda will just walk into all 5 members. The ball breaker comes in, catches out Dinton, the wild growth will be put out. Archie getting a bit of help from Pigs. Wins needs to get away from that one. It seems that there are no kills happening so far, but with the Baron buffed up team on the Azubu Taipei snipers, they'll be happy to tank up the turret shots and just regen easily. The first inhibitor of the game will go to the Azubu Taipei snipers.
So, what do you do in this situation whereby you have a Mundo who's just not gonna die? He's regenerating 400 health every 5 seconds. That means you need to deal 400 damage to him every 5 seconds, and that's just enough to keep him at 100% health.
And there we have Zonda once again.
No, Zonda don't care.
Look at his Mundo goals.
Zonda has no time for your troubles, Wolf. No time at all.
Oh my goodness, that taunt! That taunt there, oh goodness.
We said this was a grudge match. Zonda is really showing that it is right now. He just doesn't care. He's just standing in front of the tower and baiting. Not even attacking minutes, just telling TPA to do something.
My goodness. They have to wait for this Baron buff to run out because the amount of additional stats that's being given or gifted to Azubu Taipei snipers. Look at Zonda. It's like he's walking into everything on purpose.
Normally you would say that would tickle the tank.
Oh, then we have the initiation coming. The wild growth comes in. The Dragon System should be coming out quite shortly. Mistake has taken out immediately. It does seem that Azubu Taipei Assassins have the advantage in this one. Archie hasn't popped his Dragon System yet. Oh, real joins back in the fight. God, JJ is on the outside trying to do as much damage as possible. And very clean fight coming out. Zonda is only at half health. God, JJ is still on the hunt. And it's very questionable. Why did Archie not decide to use his Dragon's Descent there? Because he only managed to use it at the last second. The Dragon's Descent in itself, going in on that initiation, gives him so much magic resistance as well as armor, able to tank up as much as possible. So I wonder what kind of technical difficulties they are having at this point of time. It does seem that it's on the side of the Assassins, and I hope that didn't really cost them that team fight, because that could have gone either way. The Baron buff had just kind of degenerated from them, and it was such a close fight. But it does seem that Azubu Taipei snipers, with 4 members still up, may be able to take the win from this fight.
They do have the potential to take the win, but O'Real is down to a sliver of health. Unless he has a way to regenerate, he's going to probably head back to base. This will probably be another inhibitor for the Taipei snipers, but what are the Assassins going to do? I really have to say that at that Baron fight, the point where Zonda was there's still a chance to kill Dr. Mundo, you still have the potential to do so, is where TPA pretty much gave the game to the Taipei snipers. Zonda's just at a point where, even being focused down by the Assassins, there's just nothing they can do against him.
The Lulu pickup in the early game did a fantastic job. Whoa, we do have Zonda on the chase, the glitter lance, as well as the ice ball. Can your movement speed hit 0 here? Because Zonda will go down. You're not gonna escape from a Lulu and a Nunu.
You're not gonna escape that. I'm a little bit wrong there, because I felt like even at that low amount of health, Zonda would have lived in that situation, but apparently not. The 80% slow on top of the ice blast. Yeah, Mundo's not going where he pleases right there.
He's going where he pleases, really slowly.
Really slowly, in fact.
So, if you're the Azubu Taipei Assassins, you know that you can only kill Mundo when he's under 1/3 health, and you can't even focus him down. Can you actually turn your attentions completely onto Oriol and God JJ? Because Zonda is actually a real damage threat at this point of time. The amount of AoE magic damage he deals on top of his cleavers, the Burning Agony and his infected cleavers, that's something that you cannot ignore either.
Bear in mind though, Zonda does not have the highest damage output in his team. In fact, I feel that he has the least damage output just below Annie right now. And if TPA can somehow burst down, wins O'Real and also God JJ, they should be able to pick up a fight, and they have the burst damage to do so. I really think they need to pull a Fnatic right now, just camp into a brush. Double Warmogs. What do you do? What do you do when you get 1,000 health from one item and a ton of regeneration? 55 health per Warmogs.
Let's check.
226 without the Baron. He has 5,500 health. Zonda is a beast right now.
This is, I don't know, honestly, this game may have hit the point of no return for the AZB Taipei Assassins, but I'm not gonna count that out just yet.
I think though, until once Zonda sells that Sunfire Cape, which I don't think he will, and gets another ability power item, nobody is gonna even hurt him on TPA. That Sunfire Cape is purely there to block auto attacks, a little bit of physical damage and tower damage, that's it.
That's right, the solar flare comes in. God JJ has been on point with these spell shields. Jay tries to go in onto God JJ. Mistake is taken out very low. Mistake will most likely go down to the igniting. And it does seem that Zonda single-handedly once more is trying to take out as many members as possible. It seems like Zonda may go down for this one. He's not gonna die just yet.
The Glitter Lance also barely missed God JJ there, which would have taken him down.
And look at Zonda, he's already back up to 3,000 HP at this point of time.
And the Glitter Lance coming in from BB almost took down God JJ, but just missed by an inch, and that would have been a decisive factor in that fight.
Mundo goes where he pleases. He definitely goes where he pleases this game. Zonda has 2 Warmogs. That's just disgusting.
It is more than disgusting right now.
He also regenerates 60% of his maximum health over 12 seconds. That's 60% of 6,000 health. That's crazy. That's like 3,600 health over 12 seconds, thereabout.
So without an AD carry to deal with Zonda, if TPA had an attack damage carry right now, not only would Zonda have to itemize differently to account for that, bear in mind he would still do fairly well because he is such a late game beast right now. He would still do very well against the AD carry. But then TPA would have the potential to shut him down. They would have the potential to kite him around and potentially take him down. But now, with only ability power, that 200 damage is not going to cut it out from BB.
Nope, not at all. Yes, it does now deals 200 damage, but again, Zonda, what's 200 damage in the face of 292 health regen per 5?
He just has to wait 5 seconds and he's good to go. This damage doesn't even tickle him right now. Zonda's still just standing in the base of TPA saying, yeah, you're not going to hurt me.
Wow, what a game, number 1. I still don't know if the AZB Taipei snipers can close it out just yet. Baron is now alive, and so is Dragon.
Shyvana actually, I feel, has to be hitting Zonda now. Archie can no longer go for the backline. He needs to use his abilities and also that Blade of the Ruined King to deal maximum percent base damage onto Zonda and current percent base health damage onto Zonda to take him down low enough for the burst to finally take him down from the rest of AZB TPA.
And there we have the Talisman Ascension being popped. Will TPS decide to go in onto this one on the hunt? Has yet to be used. They want to take down this inhibitor. All the inhibitors are back up for the side of TPA, and it does seem that one inhibitor will go down. O'Real will take that one out. Zonda is just body blocking for everyone now. And he decides to take the shortcut. And this may cause a lot of trouble. He gets the stun. The Zenith Blade comes in, and Mistake comes in and gets the stun onto BB. Zonda is still alive. He pops his sadism and just goes in all the way. O'Real getting zoned out by Morning a little bit now, and Archie decides to go in. He doesn't have his Dragon's Descent. Now he comes in, the Dragon's Descent, and Explosive Cast comes in. Mistake is taken out very low. Zonda is taken out very low. O'Real is still at full health. God JJ is still at full health, and they just managed to take the inhibitor, so they trade no champions, but AZB Taipei Assassins lose the inhibitor, and they may possibly lose Baron out of this fight.
TPA can't even lock down Zonda for more than 10 seconds. They have the perma-slow team comp right now. Dinter and BB just slow down champions for so long. And Jay has so much lockdown potential on Leona as well. They can't even lock down Mundo enough to take him down to critical health.
It's very interesting because the vision wars right now are being won by... TPA doesn't really have a lot of vision within this fight, or at least within this area in which they want to fight in, because just these wards are kind of gonna allow them to do so, and we may see the engage come in very shortly. There's this Zonda actually taking out so many members. The ball breaker comes in from Wind. And let's just see who is the one that gets taken down low first. Then we have On the Hunt being pop. A great solar flare into the explosive cast, into the absolute zero. Takes TPA down really low despite all of that attempts. And O'Reilly just being a beast here. And on the sidelines, JJ is the one to go down first on the side of Azubu Taipei snipers. But nevertheless, both J and BB have been taken out quite low. And Azubu Taipei snipers are making a beeline for the Nexus.
What could TPA do there? Zonda, once they picked up Baron Bomb, Zonda became unstoppable. There's just nothing that TPA could have done from that point. Even now they're trying to fight him. Archie's actually going to use that Zonda's hourglass to go into that gold person that he will be. Zonda still taking the brunt damage. Mistake getting taken out really low. TPS Zonda might actually get taken down here. Archie gets on the kill. Now Mistake's in a lot of trouble. He'll get taken down. O'Reilly also trying to jump out of that fight.
What is this fight? O'Reilly gets slowed by the ice ball. Will he be able to make the leap across? Yes, he does. He gets away from that one.
But really
not safe just yet. Will Archie be able to catch up? He does have the dragons. He said he will choose to keep it at this point of time. But already losing Zonda, JJ as well as Mistake. It may seem like it's going to be a free Baron for the side of the Azubu Taipei Assassins. Both Nunu as well Shavana can easily do this, and JJ will be poking his head around, O'Reilly will be poking his head back around again and wins. Just my hands of God. Will the King of Thieves or the Prince of Thieves be able to steal this one away from Nunu? Morning's actually making his way down really slowly. Let's see what happens here.
If Win steals it, it's game over for TPA. It will definitely be game over TPA.
JJ is back up. He's making a beeline to the Baron at this point of time. Let's see whether he comes in for this one. Wins is still on the outside. Gets the stun up. Oh my God! Oh, the Baron! He steals the Baron! My goodness! Wins! You stole the Baron!
And here comes Zonda with a teleport and home guard. He's gonna make a beeline for the base. He doesn't even care about picking up kills. Wins just stole Baron from a Nunu and a Gragas. Oh my goodness. It was a 1-on-4 inside the Baron pit. Wins is the king right now.
Wins, I officially declare you the King of Thieves. You just stole all the most amazing Barons. TPS wins game number 1.
56-minute game.
My goodness.